Welcome to My Side of the Closet, the podcast where hidden truths and untold stories come to light. I'm your girl, Just B.
And this is Blonde Mafia.
Before we get into it, what you sipping on? Whether it's tea, coffee, wine, or just some water on the rocks, grab your drink and get comfortable and let's dive right in. So, tonight's topic is we're going to be talking about tell me why you stayed. And one thing about this topic here, this why I had to get a little extra. I had to get a little extra vodka and a splash of water and a splash of cranberry juice. No, I'm kidding, y'all. I have grape juice. Okay. Anyways,
You lie.
this is a topic that a lot of people that are not in our positions are pretty much asking, why the hell did you stay? And nobody quite understands why but us. Five of us can be like, I stayed for X, Y, and Z. You'd be like, I could see it. I could see it. Someone apart from us is like, girl, bye. I would have left the moment I smelled Chanel perfume. Okay. So, and you kind of feel shame and you kind of feel guilty or but you know what? I don't honestly, I've gotten to a point where I feel like I've had to like not fight, but it's just like you have to fight to prove a little like this is why. And this is why. But I look at it like this. If we all have to be understanding, right? There's no judgment. There's no judgment on this podcast, okay? Now, this is where you can judge when none of us are looking. This is audio. You can sit there, you can roll your eyes, you can pause and smack your lips and be like, girl, whatever. That's fine. That's cool. We don't see you. We don't hear you. We all right. Because we probably doing the same thing over here. So it's like when someone else, they're in an abusive relationship, they're getting their teeth knocked out, they're getting hit. Like, I mean, and y'all, I'm just keeping it as real as possible, okay? So don't come for me. Please, because I'm not sending for you. But we don't understand because we'll be like I know for me, I can't speak for everybody else, but I'll be like, no, he put his hands on me. I'm whooping his ass on sight. I'm whooping his ass right there because I'm 5'9", and in my head I feel like I'm 6'4". All right, so that we could be like I could walk away, but what about the women that are actually in that position that can't walk away because they're like, well, he loves me. He didn't mean it, and I did something wrong. We don't understand that. So I say this to say that they don't understand us. We don't understand them. Tomato, tomato, potato, potato. Everybody is different. Everybody handles everything different. It's a no judgment zone. And that's why I love this podcast because we can't see each other. Now, when we start being where we can see each other, I don't want to see nobody rolling their eyes. Okay. So let's jump right on in. So today we're talking about why you stayed on Mafia. Bring it on in.
Okay, well, I did not stay. So there was actually not even a question in my mind the minute that I found out that my ex was gay. I kicked him out in less than 24 hours. And I say I kicked him out because, yes, we were together for 10 years, but I lived in our apartment first. And so to me this was my apartment. So when I say I kicked him out, it was never a question in my mind whether or not we were going to separate. And I think I spoke on going to therapy with him for 2 sessions. I don't know if I spoke about that, but I did go to 2 sessions of therapy with him immediately after I found out. And I remember the therapist looking at me and saying, "So what now?" And I looked at her like, "What do you mean, what now?" And she said, "Well, some people choose to stay." And the thought had never crossed my mind. It just hadn't. I knew immediately this man had lied to me for 10 years. This man cannot satisfy my needs. I also knew the man was a narcissist. And so for me, the question again, we didn't have children together. And so it was kind of an easier decision for me. However, I'm not the norm. I was financially stable on my own. I could support myself. Like I said, we didn't have a child. So it was a no-brainer for me. So, again, I'm probably in the 1% who immediately said, "Sayonara, honey."
So I felt like my life is about to be over. When I first found out, it wasn't that, okay, now I got to get up and leave, which is what, my family, of course, and very loving and all, they wanted the best for me. I couldn't see straight or I couldn't see.
No pun intended, right?
But I wasn't in the right headspace, and I'll never forget I have a cousin that said to me, she said she was ashamed not was she ashamed? I think she said she was ashamed of me or she was disappointed. She was disappointed in me. And me being one of the oldest, I mean, that hurt me, but then it was like, "I don't care, I have to save my family," but it did weigh on me because I didn't want to be a disappointment, I don't say they look up to me like that, but it was maybe they looked up to me. I was, older and I was married and this is the life that I wanted. I'm talking about the husband and the child or the kid and not the bullshit that came with it. But in no marriage or no relationship or no partnership is easy, but at that moment I was not thinking about walking away. I even went as far. Now, again, nobody come for me, but you know how the really religious people will say, "Oh, I'm trying to pray the gay away." Right? Y'all, when I say I was trying everything, like, yes, we did count like, after I did have a meltdown, I did have a breakdown, and, I did have a miscarriage, right? But I also, tried to take them, y'all. Y'all listen. Listen carefully. Everybody stop what you're doing. Listen. I took them to Hooters.
I took a picture of mine in one of those Hooters booths. I have the photo from our trip to Mexico. What was I thinking?
I literally took him to Hooters because this was the first time ever that I was like, I gotta get you. I gotta maybe if you look at some titties, maybe you will turn away from there. Maybe you would yeah, I mean, I was not in my right mind. Cause who's trying to stay? Yeah, you're not getting sex the way you want. You're not getting none of that. You are the one that you feel like you're begging for it. In my situation, I felt like I was begging for it. And he might say different. No, you always wanted it. Well, shit, I always wanted it, and I couldn't really get it the way I wanted it. I felt like I was begging, and no woman should feel like you were begging. I hated to hear, like, when we had a little couples get togethers and the women were like, my man, he just always, girl, I can't get him off of me. I'm like, I can't get mines on me. And when it was a surprise and it was annoying. And then you are content with just going to work and being a mom and being a wife. And being a wife meant you cook, you clean, you go to work and you just hang out, but you barely get any of that. He always told our friends, well, she didn't believe in intimacy. I call bullshit. That was just a narcissistic move that I was not intimate. I am the biggest hopeless romantic ever because he was the most romantic person I've ever been with. So to say I didn't want that was ridiculous, but hey, that's just part of the game that they play. I'm out of breath. All right. Blonde Mafia, what we got?
I again, here
And
I
going
am.
to Hooters did not work.
No, no. I was gonna say here I am again, not the norm. My husband was extremely sexual, and it it almost didn't work to my advantage, though, because he was so sexual with me that when I even after I read in black and white all of the proof that this man was gay, it led me to believe, well, maybe he's bi, because they all start out that way when they first get forced out of that closet, if they're forced, even if they're tiptoeing out in their tutu, they are still, well, maybe I'm bisexual. Eventually they get comfortable with it and they go, no, I'm gay. Well, I was like, this man never had a problem having sex with me. Never. To me, again, I was married prior to him. I was in a long-term relationship with a very straight male. And so I know what it's like to be desired by a straight male. And to me, this man, he was either the master at his craft of pretending or he liked both sides. I don't know. I know he prefers men. I know that for a fact because he's never looked back. But I was not the norm. I had a normal sex life, and so almost again, like I said, it made it a little more difficult to accept him coming out and saying, "Well, this is what I prefer, and I don't want you anymore." And he was very forceful with it when he came out. He turned into this completely different person. He was not the kind, sweet guy that was buying me flowers, like you said, the romantic. He turned into this just fierce, I am gay, I am out, I am proud. I think you said your ex, or we call him Gex, went and got a tattoo immediately after coming out. So did mine. Mine couldn't even wait 24 hours. He went to the tattoo parlor the next day and got a big old rainbow tattooed on his wrist that said, "Oh, live your truth."
They always got some bullshit they tattooing. His said, "I am enough." Enough for what?
You're too much. That's what it should have said.
Enough for what? Like, I'm sorry, y'all. I just don't understand. It's almost like we put a gun to their heads and say, "You're gonna marry me, you're gonna love me, you're gonna sleep with me, and you're gonna give me a kid or whatsoever." I ain't do none of that shit. As a matter of fact, I listened to this one pastor and he said, before you get married, ask all the questions. Now, shit, that wasn't a question that I missed because he said ask all the questions. So I did. I asked all the questions, and one of the things I said, I did ask, I said, "Are you gay or bi?" I said, "Be honest." Before we go any further, I said, because I know I used to hear rumors in college, and I know he has a sibling that is gay and proud of it and was not ashamed to came out and lived his truth. And listen, y'all, just in case anybody in the community comes in and listen, don't come for me because I love there's so many people that I follow that they're so talented. I laugh at their jokes. I mean, I love them. I have family members that are out, they're free, and I'm fine with that. I think the Bible says love one another anyhow, right? You don't have to condone it, but you still love them, right? So don't come for me. What I don't love is the ones this is for the ones that are using us as cover-ups or what they call it, beards. I heard some shit today about some lavender. The only lavender I have is the stuff I go take a shower with so I could help, sleep at night. So that's where my issue is. This is not bashing by all means. We don't bash, period, but this is not bashing the LBGTQ. If y'all add one more alphabet. But anyways, but this is not bashing at all. But a lot of people, they cheer. I just saw on some of the posts, a lot of people, they're cheering you on. They're like, "Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you're free. Good for you." But then y'all, it's us back here that are like, our lives are shattered. I thought I had it. I really thought I had something because I know no relationship or marriage or partnership, nothing is easy. But you're like, you know what? I'm okay with this. He get on my damn nerves, but he loves me. He loved my dirty draws. And now he love his dirty draws and maybe his dirty draws. Cause if another man come up to me and says, your man tried to X, Y, and Z me, I'm gonna scream. But cause it happened 3 weeks ago, y'all. I'm sitting at a dinner. So I'm sitting at a dinner table. I'm having dinner with close friends and we're all having a good time. And then boom, they're like, "Oh, we heard you're not together." I'm like, "Hey, it is what it is, bada bing, bada boom." And I guess, you got to play it cool because you don't want to, you a G. I know, I'm not sweating him. Sometimes you're like, "Oh my God." And then a friend of ours was like, "Well, he did try to come on to me. I'm gonna give you the PG version," he said. But he said this amongst our other friends.
I
And
heard
I'm
the other version live.
right, and I'm sitting there, I'm shaking inside, and I'm like, "Wait, what? When was this?" Because we haven't seen you guys in, over 5 years. He's like, "Yeah, he tried to, whatever, whatever," and he was like, "Let me show you how gay you wanna see how gay I can get?" And, you're like, "Damn, you really out here having a field day." And it's like, how stupid I already probably look stupid when you find out more, but then it's like how stupid I look to him. Yeah, she's dumb. She doesn't know she's staying. I know we had a friend of ours that wanted me to know so bad, but he was struggling between the both of our friendships and he just couldn't take it anymore because he's watching this just crumble. And he told him if she finds out, she's going to be deeply hurt. And he was basically like, "We'll cross that bridge when we get there." Like my feelings did not matter. So if my feelings don't matter, you think I give a damn right about now? You spoke your truth, I'm speaking mines. Don't come
Love
for
it.
me. You
Love
know
it.
what I'm saying? Because we've taken and taken, we've been punching bags. Y'all put your big girl panties on, tighten
Yep.
up that wig,
Yep.
get that shit together. Y'all, we about to come out strong. Every freaking day, you need to get up, take your walk, do your exercise, do your meditation. You are stronger than ever. Whether we get into new relationships or we don't get into any relationships, you are a boss chick. You are going to make it on the other side. Hear me now. Karma is a bitch. So for whoever is listening who think you wanna come at us sideways, karma is a bitch. Get your shit together. Get it together. Now I said this ain't for everybody in the community. This ain't for everybody. This is not for everybody because I have a friend who was actually around during the time, and he actually I spoke to him while I was in Cali, and actually me and Blonde Mafia, she heard it all, and
Sure
he
did.
was he was he was happy that I finally came to myself, and he wished that he would have been the one to tell me because he knew everything that was about to transpire or whatever. But he's happily gay, he's married, and hey, he's living his life. And you know what? I appreciate that because what he said to me was, I don't get in between people that are married or in serious relationships. I don't get in between that. I'm not going to tear a family apart. That's not what I do. And you know what? I respect that. I respect any gay man, any lesbian, any trans, anybody in that community that says, "You know what? I don't even mess with that." Cuz guess what? You also fall in love. You also want to be married. You don't want nobody fucking up your stuff. So don't come over here fucking up ours. You understand what I'm saying, y'all? That's how I feel about that. It's respect. That's all it is respect. But let them men keep playing. Y'all keep playing if you want to. Keep playing. Karma is a bitch. I'm dropping the mic. And
I hope we can count on that. I was floored when you put into the Facebook group the subject that we were going to do this podcast on today, which was, tell me why you stayed. And I want to say within 8 minutes of posting, we had 16 comments, 14 of which were full on 12 paragraph stories from women who stayed for whatever their reason was. And every single reason was understandable when you read
here, let's see. Play some elevator music.
it.
Blonde Mafia.
The first one. I stayed because he would threaten me. Anytime it looked as if things were ending, he would tell me if I left, he was going to take the kids and I'd never see him again. He would tell her he's going to shut my company down. She said he even followed through. He ended up leaving and he still stole the business and he still took the kids. But yet she stayed out of fear.
Wow. I stayed because he was bi and he was faithful. I stayed because he was gay. He told me he loved me and we'd figured it out and I was his plus one. I stayed when he cheated because of family obligations and children and I wanted to save my family. Now right there, the family.
Yep. It's a tough one.
The family. I stayed in until the end because I was broken and he stopped loving me. And after 25 years, he said he was ready for divorce. Whew.
I stayed the first time because I believed him when he said it was just some online stuff. I wanted to keep the family together. There's another one. Finally got proof a second time beyond the internet stuff. But I stayed because of my financial situation. I stayed because of my housing situation. I needed to get my shit together and be brave enough to walk away.
Well, this one definitely relates to me. I was in love with the mirage of our marriage. I felt like I had not everything, but I keep saying I had the house, the cars, coming up with the job, the career. Yeah, it was just, I was happy. Another person, he isolated me from my friends and family. Ooh, I had his picture and goals that we had planned together. I was focusing on being the best partner and wife and support system because that's what we do. I couldn't see things others saw looking from the outside. And sometimes you can't. And that's what people don't understand. Sometimes no, I think people do understand. Sometimes we can't see what we're going through. There's a song, everybody plays the fool. Yeah, we was not just a fool. We was a damn fool, okay? But it's okay because we in here together. You're not alone. Says I didn't realize I was his cover, aka beard. The same eyes that once adored him sees him now. Sees the sneaking around, the money being taken from home to pay for hotels, Ubers, and sex. Is the only way he was slowly draining my self-worth and stole my light. He deprived me from sex, intimacy, compliments, trust, respect, pretty much everything a marriage is made of. I was weak, emotionally battered, mentally and financially abused.
I,
Totally understand. I mean, I
I
didn't go through all of that, but Yeah, definitely understand, and I'm saying this so for the other people that are listening, because I had someone call me, a good friend of mine called me today, and she says, "I listened to episode 2, and I just wanna know, I have a Q when are y'all gonna do a Q&A? I just wanna know,
Wait, we don't have that would take like a year.
why did y'all stay?" And I said, "Well, we're gonna that's the episode for tonight." She's like, "I'm sick. You guys are taking too long to launch these episodes. These episodes are gonna be dropped each week, but we're gonna give y'all something a little bit more to hold on to. Drop 3 for y'all to just, listen to it and spread the word. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors. I don't know about telling your church members because I kind of cuss a lot, but my pastor listened to it. He's amazing. Thank you. Keep praying for me, pastor. Keep praying for me. Being real, I don't know if my church members know, but it's, few people in the church that they know or my counseling or therapy and whatnot. Because I had sister such and such on speed dial and like I said, I would cry all the time. But all these reasons that you guys stayed, fear. Not big as I am. I'm not a big girl. I'm a big girl. Big as I am, I was scared to even do this podcast. Y'all, I was shaking. And I think I told the story in episode 1 maybe. We're recording in Cali and I was staring at the wall. I told the guy, I need some liquor, give me some liquor in this studio. And he's like, all right, bet, I'm gonna go get it. And he brings me back water on the rocks, aka water and ice in a wine glass. And basically I had to drink up. But I was so scared. I wanted to cancel everything and just be like, I can't do this. I'm afraid. I fear like maybe he's gonna come after me. I don't know. But then I had to remember my journey, my struggle is not just for me. It's for y'all. It's for anybody that's like, damn, I don't even know how. But I really do feel like God spoke to me that day and said podcast because I didn't know what a podcast was. I literally got on Google and was like, what the heck is this? This is in 2023. I hit up Blonde Mafia. I was like, say, man, listen, what if we did this? And mind you, we this is 2023. It took 2 years for us to start speaking. I know I spoke last year in July on in the group, and I think I went on for an hour and I nailed everything. I nailed everything. I felt like this came from my heart and everything I said y'all needed to hear. But God has his own timing and this is not for me, this is for us. I never in my life where I'm at now, I never saw myself being here. Now, I always knew I was an entertainer, okay? I always wanted to work for Tyler Perry. So, Tyler, if you hear me, hey. I feel like God gave me the gift of laughter. I could be serious too. I mean, I'm just being as real as I know to how to be. But this is not just for me. This is for us. This is for y'all. This is for that woman that's out there that she's like, I feel so alone. Y'all send this out to your friends, your family, anybody that's like, okay, you need to listen to these 2 because they are very special. We're going to keep it as real as possible. Y'all, I'm sitting here in what looks like to be a fur coat, a long fur coat, but it's not.
I'm sitting in here in my workout clothes that I've had on since 7 this morning.
I,
Because we keep it classy over here with no video.
We keep it classy, you know what I'm saying? I got one eyelash dangling for dear life right now, It's really hanging on, and when we're done, I'm gonna pull it off and I'm gonna re-put it back on tomorrow. I'm gonna take my wig off and lay it down and brush it and tie my edges together and I'm probably gonna watch King of Queens tonight, because
Now
that's
you're
my
really
show.
aging us.
Nah, see, I would love to see Mama's Family. That's my show. But so yeah, we're gonna go ahead and close this one out. We just want to say thank you, thank you for tuning in again. And we usually record at night, so wherever you're at, just know it's nighttime where we're at.
Yeah.
So it could be in the daytime where you're at, you drinking coffee, we're gonna be wide awake with you. If it's midnight where you're at, hey, we're still wide awake because we're gonna record at night. And that's how we because we're still real people. We still have our little jobs and we still trying to make it and we're still trying to get through this. Oh, before we close, another thing about why did you stay? One of the things was childhood trauma. I believe something happened to mines, their childhood trauma, whatever happened, I don't know exactly. But sometimes people say because maybe their mate had childhood trauma and this is why they are the way they are. There's a book that I read when children are molested, either they're going to be straight and very promiscuous, or they're going to be on the other side. As my mother would say, is he on the other side? So that I just wanted to, drop that little nugget in there. I don't have the exact statistics. We just giving you the bootleg version of that, but usually it seems like that's what happens. I'm not saying that always. I think some people shy away. It could be either or, but then some people are just really troubled, or they become narcissists. When you're young, you don't know what's right and wrong, and the adults in your life, you don't know how they handle it, or if you even tell that something happened to you as a child. Some people just keep it quiet. It could be a lot of things. I know people that something happened to them as a kid, and they grew up to be successful people, but we never know what's happening on their side of the closet. And so we're going to close with that. No matter the mess, no matter the fight, your side of the closet deserves the light. So speak your truth